Is it safe for college campus supporters of Donald Trump to come out of the closet? Apparently not for many students at liberal colleges. The anger and divisiveness of the election cycle has spilled into their quads, generating more hostility and even fear. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I covered the bitter controversy at Emory University caused by some pro-Trump graffiti written in chalk. Now, student Trump supporters on many campuses say they're actually afraid to openly voice their views, that they're being ridiculed, harassed, called names, and ostracized. Three of them join me now. Dylan Pereira and Brendan Carbone are students at NYU here in the city, and Ryan Bells is chair of Students for Trump at Penn State University. Hey, Ryan, I was once chairperson of the Reagan-Bush effort at Lehigh University. My enemy was apathy. And here's a flyer that I used in the fall of 1980 to try and gin up support for Reagan-Bush. I threw a kegger. I was charging $1 a head. I had 3 half kegs of beer. And guys, literally, no one came to my party. So how have things changed, Ryan? What kind of a workout do you get when you go out and try and spread Mr. Trump's message?
It's a heck of a workout, let me tell you, spreading Mr. Trump's word throughout campus. I was shocked at the number of students that I was able to garner into our Students for Trump group at Penn State. We have right around 50 students right now, and it's growing every day. But just walking across campus, I get students ridiculing me every day, just walking to lunch or just walking to our meetings.
Well, what have they said to you?
I was walking to grab lunch the other day, and I wear orange quite frequently, as you can tell, and they said, "Hey, you in the orange," and I turned around, and he says, "Yo, F you," and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was so shocked, so surprised, and appalled, but part of me, it doesn't shock me, because there's such that divide, but at the time, I was very shocked about it.
Anybody say F you to either of you because of your support for Donald Trump? Brendan, what's been the reaction at NYU?
I haven't had anything that severe. But definitely, if you try to engage in political discourse with somebody, if you try to have conversations, you're just dismissed right off the bat if you say you're a Trump supporter. So usually, if I actually plan to have a meaningful political conversation, I have to wait and slide that in later after I've already made my points. But
well, how do they know that you're for Mr. Trump? Do you wear the hat?
I do have a hat, and I have worn it in the past. And I do talk about it a little bit more openly now, but it's still that the dismissal just, as a lesser, for some reason I have like lesser intelligence or something because I support Donald Trump. So it's just those types of insinuations.
So Dylan, does it drive you Trump supporters underground, or are you still out there wearing your Trumpism proudly?
Well, that's changed recently. So more and more we've been coming out of the closet. I've been meeting so many more Trump supporters. I think the number of Trump supporters I met has doubled. So it was originally 30, now it's closer to 60. And so we're a growing movement. People are no longer afraid. They're coming out. There still is that stigma. The other students of the campus, they get aggressive. They start yelling at. I got yelled at.
What happened when you were yelled at?
Well, it was this girl. She just started screaming at me. She called me a fascist, a racist. All this really crazy.
Because you were doing what? Like wearing a button or something?
No, it came up in a conversation. But I just said that. Yeah, she asked who I supported for the Republican or just the presidential election, and I said that I support Mr. Donald Trump, and that's when it went crazy.
Hey, Ryan, do any of the negatives about Mr. Trump, the comment about Mexico sending us its rapists, the misogyny, as some would term it, the way in which he mocked the disabled reporter for the New York Times, you know the negatives that are raised against your guy. That doesn't slow you down at all.
Not one bit. With his business background and what he's been able to do with the Trump organization just shows how much energy he's willing to put into this country and turn the economy around, turn this country around, and put us on the right step forward. And especially for my generation, we're going to be the ones dealing with it for years upon years. So I believe it's important to get someone, specifically Mr. Trump, in there who can put us on that right step forward.
Brendan, what's the appeal for you?
I really like that he has executive experience. I've seen a lot of people, if presidential candidates come out of the Senate or out of Congress, I don't think that they have the executive leadership experience, and I think that a lot of the skills that Donald Trump, developed through his business are transferable to the presidency, and he's, experienced with dealing with a lot of people, being a good manager, and I think he's a great leader, and I think that that's what we need in a president.
I'm thrilled to have the three of you here. Appreciate, by the way you dressed for the program. That's how I knew you were Republicans, probably supportive of Mr. Trump. There were some we invited who wouldn't come on camera, which I guess makes your point. And there was one in particular, Dylan, at Penn, with whom I had an exchange. And you know what he said to me? He said that he's a senior. He's worried about his career opportunity if all of a sudden in a Google search you can bring his name up in connection with Donald Trump's, which I thought, man, that's a sad state of affairs if you have to worry about expressing yourself politically. Do you have any professional concerns?
I did, but I don't really care anymore. I think if you look at Donald Trump, he's put his life on the line. He's put everything on the line for this. And the least I could do is come out and support him and tell the people not to be afraid, that we need to get behind this guy.
Do you think into the future, hey, I wonder if I'm going to go to a prospective employer and it comes back to haunt me?
You know, I was a little bit concerned, but I think it's more important to, open up this conversation about the lack of political diversity on campuses. And I think that is worth it, a potential, job in the future for me.
Is Bernie the candidate? I would think at NYU, to the extent you can get a feel for the pulse of the community, it would be Bernie.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, even Clinton supporters feel oppressed because the Bernie supporters there are so large in number and so aggressive, really, about any opposing
Maybe there's
views.
an alliance there. You guys and the Hillary supporters, you can work it all out.
We'll see what happens.
Hey, Ryan, one serious thought for you is I wonder if this is evidence of a Bradley effect, meaning there could be a hidden Trump vote. People are driven underground, and I don't just mean college campuses. I mean among the electorate generally. They don't want to admit to a pollster,
right,
I'm for Donald Trump, right? And so maybe there's strength in numbers that you don't know you have.
Exactly, and I think that's definitely the case. We're that silent majority, but we're not so silent anymore now that we have Mr. Trump out there being the face for what we've wanted to say for years and been afraid to, and now we have someone who's not afraid to be not politically correct anymore.
Give me the weather forecast for State College, because I understand that is your career path. Go, you have 20 seconds.
That's my career path. We actually just saw some snow move through the State College area last night. Got a nice coating throughout the area, so winter's still hanging on throughout much of central Pennsylvania for the next few days.
You are hired. Dylan, Brendan, Ryan, thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here. Good job.